The jungle was alive with sounds that did not belong to Earth. Creatures with wings like glass shimmered in the sunlight, and the thick vines hung heavy with moisture. Somewhere deep within this alien wilderness, a human man walked with careful steps. His name was not yet known to those watching, but his presence had already shaken the ground of this world. The war had not started with armies or fleets, but with whispers. The alien empires claimed that humans were too reckless to be trusted with peace. They spoke of humans as wild, untamable, and dangerous, and so when their patrols first spotted one human stepping into their sacred jungle, they thought it was only a matter of time before his body was broken. But he did not fall. The alien girl, golden-skinned with feline ears and bright amber eyes, stood hidden behind a curtain of leaves. She had followed him, curious yet cautious. To her people, this forest was forbidden ground, home of the apex predator that even warriors feared. They called it the Shadow Fang, a beast that obeyed no command and spared no life. It was said that even the bravest hunters returned with scars if they returned at all. She expected to watch the human die. Instead, she saw something that made her breath catch. The predator appeared first as a ripple in the shadows, then as a mass of muscle and black scales. Its teeth gleamed like knives. Its growl shook the air. She pressed her hands to her lips, ready to scream. The human should have run, should have fought, should have at least shown fear. But he did none of those things. He stood his ground. Slowly, as if unafraid, the human lifted his hand. His eyes did not waver, and his chest rose with steady breaths. The beast lowered its massive head, jaws open wide enough to snap him in half. Then, to the girl's shock, it stopped. The human's hand touched the beast's snout. The predator growled once more, but the growl softened. Its eyes, glowing with fury, shifted as if tamed. She gasped so loudly the birds scattered from the branches. "Impossible," she whispered, her voice trembling. "No one has ever tamed it." Her words were not only disbelief, they were fear. Because if a human could calm the Shadow Fang, then what else could he do? The man glanced toward the sound of her voice. For a moment, their eyes met. She froze. His gaze was steady, not hostile, but there was something behind it. Something old and unbroken. It was the look of someone who had faced storms and never bowed. She felt her heart race. The predator leaned into his touch. The human whispered something she could not hear, and the beast lowered its head completely, like a loyal hound obeying its master. She shook her head, unable to believe it. Her people had tried for centuries to control the Shadow Fang with chains, weapons, and even blood sacrifices. All had failed. Yet this human, this outsider, had done it with nothing but his hand. From deep within the forest, other shadows stirred. The girl realized this was not only about a beast and a man. Something larger was beginning. The human's presence in their jungle was not an accident. It was the start of something her world was not prepared to face. She stepped forward, her heart torn between fear and wonder. Who was he? And what was he about to awaken? The girl stepped out from the cover of leaves, her movements slow, careful. She did not want to startle the predator. Though her heart pounded so hard she feared both beast and human would hear it. The jungle seemed to hold its breath. Even the wind stopped moving. The human turned his head fully toward her now. Up close, she saw him clearly. His skin was marked with scars, not the kind made by training blades, but the kind earned in real battles. His muscles were corded with strength, his face lined with grit and something she could not place. He looked less like a wanderer and more like a survivor. The beast shifted, growling low, but it did not attack her. Its eyes followed the girl, yet it pressed its head deeper into the human's hand. She could not understand it. She had seen this monster rip apart armored soldiers. She had seen it break chains thicker than her arms. Why did it obey him? "You should not be here," she said at last, her voice barely above a whisper. His eyes narrowed slightly. He did not answer in her tongue, but his tone carried meaning. "It followed me," he said, his voice rough but steady. The words made her tremble. Did he not know what he had done? Or did he know all too well? She took another step, her golden tail twitching behind her nervously. That creature, it does not obey anyone. It kills kings and hunters alike. Yet you... Her voice cracked as she looked at the massive beast bowing its head. You touch it as if it were nothing. The human looked at the predator calmly, then back at her. It understands strength, he replied. Strength. She almost laughed, but her throat was too dry. Her people had strength. They had armies, weapons, entire fleets of war, and yet none of them had ever tamed this monster. The shadow fang shifted. Again, its scales catching the light that filtered through the canopy. The human gave a quiet sound like a command, and the beast lowered itself to the ground, lying still at his feet. Her breath caught again. It was no accident. He truly commanded it. She pressed her palms together, her amber eyes wide with shock. Her people told stories of humans, of their dangerous world, of how they thrived where no one else could. But she had never believed them fully. She had thought the tales exaggerated, meant to scare children. Now watching this man, she wondered if even the stories had not gone far enough. Why are you here? She asked him, her voice unsteady. No human dares this forest. No human even dares this world. He gave no answer at first. His silence was heavy, the kind that seemed to carry more weight than words. Finally, he said, "Because war is coming, and I need allies." Her chest tightened. War. She had heard the whispers, too, of distant fleets gathering, of councils preparing for conflict. But she had not expected a human to speak it so directly, here, in the heart of the jungle. "You think taming this beast will make allies?" she asked, forcing her voice to sound firm, though her hands trembled. The human's gaze sharpened. "It is not the beast that matters. It is what it shows." He stepped closer, his presence commanding even without weapons. "If your people see this, they will understand. If they do not, then they will fall." Her throat went dry. She wanted to deny it, to laugh at his arrogance, but the beast lying calmly at his side silenced her words. Everything about this moment defied reason, and yet she could not look away. Somewhere in the distance a horn sounded. Her ears flicked at the sound. Soldiers, her people were coming. She looked at the human again, fear and urgency mixing in her eyes. "You should leave," she whispered. "If they find you here with that creature, they will not see you as an ally. They will see you as a threat." The human did not move. His hand stayed on the predator, his expression unreadable. It was then she realized with a chill that perhaps he did not fear being hunted at all. The sound of the horn grew louder, echoing through the jungle. The alien girl's tail swayed anxiously as her golden ears twitched. Soldiers were closing in, their heavy boots pounding the ground in rhythm. They were not hunters, not scouts, but armed warriors. And they were coming fast. The human still did not move. He stood with his hand resting on the predator's head, calm, as if the approaching threat was nothing more than falling rain. His eyes stayed on the girl, watching her every movement. "You don't understand," she said quickly, her voice strained. "If they see you, they will kill you first and ask questions later. My people do not forgive trespassers, especially not humans." The beast rumbled under his hand as if sensing the tension. Its massive tail swept the ground, leaving deep marks in the soil. The girl stepped back, fear rising. If the soldiers saw this monster so close to their city, panic would tear through them. They would attack and blood would flow. "You must hide," she urged. The human finally spoke, his voice low but firm. "I don't hide." Her lips parted in disbelief. Did he not understand what he was saying? The shadow fang was terrifying, enough, but her people's soldiers carried blades that could cut through stone and spears that pulsed with energy. They would not hesitate to strike. "You don't know my people," she whispered. His gaze sharpened. "And you don't know mine." Before she could answer, the soldiers appeared through the trees. Armored figures with silver masks stepped into the clearing, their weapons glowing in their hands. They froze the moment they saw the scene before them. The predator, the human, and the girl standing between them. One soldier shouted a warning, in their tongue. The beast growled, baring its teeth. The human did not flinch. His hand pressed gently against the monster's scales, keeping it still. The soldiers hesitated. They had seen this beast before, but never like this. It should have torn the human apart. It should have been roaring and killing. Instead, it crouched, like a trained hound. The commander stepped forward, his voice hard. "Step away from it, girl, and you, human, if you value your life, surrender now." The girl's heart raced. She knew what would happen if he refused. Her people did not waste time with diplomacy when facing threats. Yet she could see in his eyes he would not kneel. The human looked at the commander and shook his head. "This beast is no threat, unless you make it one." His words, though spoken in his rough human accent, carried across the clearing like thunder. The soldiers stiffened. Some shifted nervously. The beast rumbled again, as if to echo his statement. The commander's mask tilted slightly. "Impossible," he muttered, staring at the predator's calm form. Then his tone hardened again. "Kill them both." Her breath caught. Before the soldiers could strike, the shadow fang roared. The sound was deafening, shaking the leaves from the trees. Birds fled in flocks. The soldiers staggered, their weapons trembling in their hands. But the human did not. "Let the beast attack." He whispered something, his voice steady, and the predator stopped mid-surge. Its glowing eyes stayed fixed on the soldiers, but it remained at his side, waiting. The jungle fell silent again, broken only by the labored breathing of the soldiers. None of them moved forward. None dared. The girl stepped closer to the human, her voice urgent. "Please," she whispered, "do not fight them. You don't understand the war this will bring." The human's gaze did not leave the commander. His tone was sharp, cutting through the still air. "War is already here. You just haven't seen it yet." The commander hesitated, his soldiers shifting uneasily. The girl felt a chill. The balance of power had changed in front of her eyes. For the first time in her life, she saw her people's soldiers afraid, not of the beast, not of the jungle, but of the human who tamed the untamable. The commander's hand trembled on his weapon. For the first time, the alien girl saw doubt in his stance. She had trained under these soldiers, had seen them stand fearless against creatures twice their size, yet now they hesitated because of a single human standing beside the predator. The jungle around them was still, every leaf seeming to lean forward to witness what would happen next. The human did not raise a weapon, did not step back, and did not show fear. His calmness was more frightening than the predator's teeth. The girl's voice broke the silence. "Commander, wait. If you attack, you will bring disaster. He has control over it. We should—" "Silence!" the commander barked, though his eyes never left the human. But her words struck something in the other soldiers. She saw it in the way their stances shifted, the way their grips on their weapons loosened. They were not eager to fight this man, not while the apex predator watched with glowing eyes. The human finally spoke again, his deep voice steady. "You, see what I can do. Your weapons won't save you if this beast attacks, but I don't want bloodshed, not yours, not mine." The commander hesitated. His pride would not allow him to bow to a human, but his survival told him not to order an attack. He raised his hand slowly, and the soldiers did not advance. The girl let out a shaky breath, though her heart was still pounding. The human turned his head slightly toward her. His eyes held a question, though he did not voice it. She understood. He was asking if she would stand with him, or against him. She swallowed hard. Every instinct told her to run, to return to her people and warn them of the danger. Yet something rooted her to the ground. She had just witnessed the impossible. If she turned away, her people would never understand. They would only see him as a threat and destroy everything before they learned the truth. Her decision was made in silence. She stepped closer to him. The commander noticed, and his voice turned sharp. "Girl, what are you doing?" She lifted her chin, though her knees shook. "I am choosing to see what no one else dares to see." The commander's mask tilted, disbelief clear in his stance. The soldiers murmured among themselves, confusion spreading like fire. To stand with a human was betrayal, Yet to deny what they had just witnessed was madness. The predator growled again, shifting its massive body. The human's hand steadied it with ease, and the beast lowered its head. The soldiers froze once more, their fear growing. The girl's mind raced. If word of this reached the council, chaos would follow. The council already whispered of war against humans, claiming they were too dangerous. This would prove their fears. Yet, wasn't that proof also a sign of strength, of power that could change the course of war? The commander lowered his weapon, but his voice was laced with anger. "This is not over. The council will hear of this." The human's eyes narrowed. "Let them." The commander signaled the soldiers to retreat, though none dared turn their back fully. They moved slowly, their gazes locked on the predator until the jungle swallowed them again. The sound of their boots faded, leaving silence behind. The girl's legs weakened and she nearly collapsed. She pressed her hands against her face, trying to calm her racing heart. When she finally looked up, the human was still there, calm as stone, the predator resting beside him like a loyal guardian. She spoke softly, her voice trembling with questions she had never dared to ask. "Who are you really? What kind of being are you?" He looked at her, and though he gave no name, his answer was heavier than stone. "I am human." The jungle seemed to whisper the word, carrying it through the leaves. She shivered, realizing that everything she thought she knew about his kind was only the beginning of a truth her people were not ready to face. The girl stood frozen as the last sound of the soldiers faded into the jungle. She knew what would happen next. The commander would not stay silent. He would rush back to the city, report everything, and the council would treat the human as an enemy before they even tried to understand. She turned toward the man. His hand still rested on the predator's head, but his eyes were on her. Calm, steady, and searching. It was as if he knew the war she was fighting inside herself. "They will come for you," she said finally. Her voice was quiet, but the weight of her words was heavy. He nodded once without fear. "Then let them." Her chest tightened. His courage, or maybe his stubbornness, made her heart race. No one defied the council. No one survived once they declared someone a threat. Yet here he stood, not only unafraid, but ready. She looked at the beast beside him. The Shadowfang's breathing was slow, controlled, almost relaxed. It had become an extension of him now. Her people would never accept that. They would see it as an abomination, a danger too great to allow. "You can't stay here," she whispered, urgently. "If they bring the full guard, even you won't survive. They will not stop. They will burn the forest to the ground if they must." The human tilted his head slightly, his expression unreadable. "Then guide me," he said. Her ears twitched. "Guide you? To where?" "To your city," he replied. His words were steady, like a command more than a request. She stumbled back, a step shaking her head. "No, that's impossible. If the council sees you, they will sentence you to death before you can speak." His eyes narrowed. "You saw what I did. Do you think your people will believe you if you stand alone?" Lips parted, but she had no answer. He was right. If she returned with only words, the council would dismiss her, perhaps even punish her for defending him. They needed to see it with their own eyes. The human stepped closer, the predator moving with him like a shadow. His voice dropped low. "Take me there, show them. Let them understand what humans are before it's too late." The girl's mind swirled with fear and doubt. Her people hated humans. They called them reckless children of a violent world. To walk into the council chambers with one at her side was madness. Yet when she looked at him, standing calm with the untamable beast at his side, she felt something she had never felt before. Hope. She clenched her fists. "If I do this, they may kill us both." His reply was simple. "Or they will listen." The jungle seemed to press in on her, waiting for her answer. She closed her eyes for a moment, then opened them with resolve. "Follow me." The human gave a small nod. The predator rose silently, its massive claws sinking into the soil with each step. They moved together through the jungle, the girl leading the way, the human and beast following close. Every sound made her flinch, every shadow felt like watching eyes. She knew the commander would reach the city soon, and once he spread the news, the whole place would be on alert. As they walked, she dared to glance at the human again. He moved, with a strange grace not like her people. His steps were quiet but firm, his posture unyielding. He did not look like someone trespassing on alien land. He looked like someone who belonged everywhere. At last, through the trees, the first lights of her city appeared. Towers of stone and crystal rose high into the sky, glowing softly with energy. The sight always filled her with pride. But now, it made her chest heavy with dread. She stopped, her tail curling tightly around her leg. "Once we enter, there will be no turning back," she whispered. The human looked past her at the shining city, his eyes calm, steady, and full of something she could not name. "Then let's begin," he said. The city gates loomed high before them, guarded by two tall towers of crystal light. The alien girl felt her stomach twist as she approached. Her people were already on alert. She could see soldiers gathered near the entrance, their weapons glowing faintly in the dusk. Whispers ran through them like a wave the moment they saw the human and the predator at his side. Gasps echoed. Some soldiers stumbled back in fear, their hands gripping weapons tighter. Others simply froze, their golden eyes wide in disbelief. The Shadow Fang, the beast that had haunted their forests for generations, was walking calmly, tamed, under the touch of a human. The commander was already there. His mask glinted in the light as he pointed a sharp finger at them. "Seize them!" he roared, but no one moved. The predator's glowing eyes swept over the soldiers, its low growl rolling like thunder. Not a single warrior dared take the first step forward. The girl forced herself to stand tall, her heart hammering. "Wait!" she shouted. Her voice cracked but carried across the courtyard. "Do not strike. Look with your own eyes. You all see what is happening. This is not a trick. This is not an illusion." The commander turned his mask toward her, his voice cut like a blade. "You dare defend him? You bring a human and a monster to our gates. You betray your own blood." She swallowed hard, her hands trembling, but she stood her ground. "I saw it with my own eyes. He did not chain this beast. He did not break it with blades. He calmed it, with only his hand. Tell me, Commander, have you ever seen such a thing?" The crowd shifted uneasily. The soldiers murmured, their fear mixing with curiosity. The human stepped forward, his voice steady and deep. "I do not come here to bring war to your gates, but war is coming whether you wish it or not. And if you cannot face what is already before you, you will not survive what follows." The commander stiffened. Bold words from a trespasser. "You are dangerous, human. Too dangerous to live." He raised his weapon, but before he could fire, the predator let out a roar that shook the walls of the city. Crystals rattled in there, sockets dust falling from the towers. The soldiers stumbled back in terror, and the commander froze mid-step. The human's hand touched the beast's snout again, and instantly the predator grew quiet, lowering its head. The silence that followed was deafening. Every eye in the courtyard was on him now. Every soldier, every bystander who had gathered at the gates. They all saw what the girl had seen. The impossible. The girl took her chance. She stepped closer, her voice carrying across the crowd. "If you kill him, you kill hope itself. Look at him. Look at the beast at his side. No one in our history has done this, not kings, not warlords, not even the council itself. But he has, with nothing but his will." Her words struck like fire. The murmurs grew louder. Some soldiers lowered their weapons completely, their eyes fixed on the human in awe rather than hatred. The commander's voice cut through the noise. "Enough. Bring them before the council. Let the elders judge this madness." The gates opened with a groan, and the path into the heart of the city lay before them. The human walked forward without hesitation, the predator pacing silently beside him. The girl followed, her heart pounding with every step. Citizens gathered in the streets, gasping and pointing. Parents pulled children close, shopkeepers abandoned. Their stalls and whispers raced through the city like wildfire. A human, with the Shadow Fang. Impossible. The girl's cheeks burned, but she kept walking, Each step felt heavier than the last. She knew what awaited them inside the council chamber. Judgment. And she feared the council would not see what she saw. Still, she pressed forward. Because deep inside, a voice told her that this moment would change everything. The council chamber was vast, carved from black stone and lit by glowing crystals that hung from the ceiling like frozen stars. The alien girl's steps echoed as she entered with the human and the predator at her side. The silence in the hall was thick, broken only by the sound of the beast's claws scratching against the polished floor. At the far end, the council sat upon high thrones, 12 elders, their golden eyes sharp, their robes flowing with embroidered symbols of power. Each one radiated authority, their voices able to sway armies and shape the future of their people. The moment the human appeared, a ripple of shock passed through the chamber. The predator, so feared even by kings, lay calmly at his heel. The eldest counselor rose to his feet, his voice strong despite his age. "Bring him forward." The commander shoved his way inside with soldiers at his back. His voice carried anger and fear in equal measure. "Honored elders, I report the truth. This human entered our sacred jungle. He commands the Shadow Fang. He is a threat unlike any we have ever faced." The elders whispered among themselves. Some leaned forward, curious, others leaned back in alarm. The girl clenched her fists, her chest tight. She could not let the council decide only through fear. She stepped ahead of the human, her voice rising. "It is not chains or weapons that keep the beast at his side. It is something else." He touched it, calmed it, controlled it without cruelty. "None of us have ever done this. Should we not see it as a sign?" The commander snapped his head toward her. "A sign of what? That humans are too dangerous to be allowed in our worlds? That they bend monsters to their will while we suffer their claws? You are blinded by awe, girl. This is no miracle. It is a threat to our very existence." The council chamber filled with murmurs. The girl's throat tightened, but she did not step back. She looked at the human. He stood silent, his expression calm, his gaze steady on the elders. The predator lay still at his feet, not a flicker of aggression in its glowing eyes. At last, one of the younger counselors spoke, her voice sharper than the others. "Human, speak, why are you here in our world?" His voice was low but clear, echoing through the chamber. "War is coming. Not the small skirmishes you fear with humans. A greater war, something that will sweep across stars. I came because you need to understand what is possible when strength is met with trust." Some elders frowned, others leaned forward, listening intently. The commander scoffed. "He comes with riddles. Do not listen. Destroy him now before he destroys us all." But the eldest counselor raised his hand, silencing the room. His golden eyes stayed locked on the human. "You claim you bring a warning, yet you trespass into our land and tame what we could not. Do you expect us to bow to you in gratitude?" The human shook his head. "I expect nothing, but I will not hide what I am. If I can tame your deadliest predator, then what do you think will happen when humans and your people stand together against what comes?" The chamber fell into a heavy silence. His words sank like stones in deep water. The girl's heart pounded. She could see it in the elder's eyes. The fear, the doubt, and something else she had not seen before. Possibility. But the commander was not finished. His voice rose with fury. "Do not be fooled. He seeks to plant fear in us, to claim power, where he has none. This is how humans conquer, through deception and spectacle. He must die, and the beast with him." The predator growled, rising to its feet, its glowing eyes fixed on the commander. The girl stepped between them, her tail lashing nervously. "Please," she cried out, her voice carrying across the chamber. "Look past your fear. Look at what is right before you. He does not bow, and neither does the beast. Yet neither has harmed us unless we forced it. What if this is not a threat? What if it is a gift we cannot see?" The council murmured again, their voices rising, torn between fear and wonder. The decision balanced on a knife's edge, and every breath felt like it could tip the scale. The council chamber buzzed with heated whispers. Some elders leaned forward, their eyes shining with curiosity. while others leaned back in their thrones with cold suspicion. The predator's heavy breathing filled the pauses between voices, its glowing eyes sweeping the room like a living threat. The eldest counselor raised his hand for silence. "This is no ordinary matter. The question before us is whether this human brings ruin or salvation." His words stirred the chamber into louder murmurs. The girl could see it clearly now. The council was divided. Some wanted to kill the human before his strength spread fear among the people. Others wanted to study him, to see if his control over the beast was the key to survival in the greater war he had spoken of. The commander stepped forward, his silver mask gleaming under the crystal lights. His voice rang sharp and furious. "Enough debate. This human is a threat to all we are. If you delay, if you hesitate, he will destroy us from within. Let me strike him down now before the poison spreads." His hand gripped his weapon tightly. Soldiers at the chamber's edge tensed, ready to obey if he gave the order. The girl's breath caught. She knew the council might waver, but the commander would never wait for their decision. Before the elders could speak, the predator rose to its full height, letting out a low growl that shook the stones beneath their feet. Its fangs glistened in the chamber light, and several soldiers stepped back in fear. The human's hand lifted calmly, brushing the beast's snout, and it stilled. The sight froze the room. The girl stepped forward, her voice desperate. "Do you not see? If he meant to harm us, he could have unleashed this beast already. None of us would be standing. Yet he holds it back even now, even while you threaten his life." Some of the elders nodded slightly, doubt creeping into their expressions. But the commander's fury only grew. He tore his mask away, revealing scarred skin and blazing golden eyes. "You are blind, all of you. Humans are killers. Their worlds breed violence, and this one has already shown he can twist monsters to his will. Do you not see the danger? If he controls beasts, then soon he will control armies." He lunged forward, weapon raised. The girl gasped, moving to block him, but she was too slow. The commander's strike never landed. The human caught the weapon, mid-swing with his bare hand. Metal clanged against his palm, sparks flashing, but his grip did not waver. The predator's roar boomed through the chamber, but the human kept it still with nothing more than a glance. His other hand pushed the commander back with a force that sent the armored warrior crashing against the wall. Gasps filled the chamber. The council elders rose to their feet, shock in their golden eyes. Soldiers drew their weapons, but none dared step closer. The girl stared at the human in disbelief, not because he had stopped the commander, but because he had done it without killing him. He could have ended the fight in an instant, yet he had chosen restraint. The eldest counselor's voice cut through the silence. "Enough. There will be no blood in this hall. Human, you will not be executed today, but neither will you walk free. We must decide with clarity, not rage." The commander struggled to his feet, his eyes burning with hatred. "You are fools," he spat. "Every moment he lives, the danger grows." The girl turned toward the elders, her voice strong despite the trembling in her hands. "Then test him. See with your own eyes what I saw. If he fails, then you may judge him. But if he proves what he claims, then perhaps he is not our doom, but our only chance." The council chamber fell silent once again. The elders exchanged long, heavy looks. Finally, the eldest counselor nodded slowly. "So be it. The human will face trial, not with words, with action. Let him show us the truth." The girl's heart pounded. The human stood calm, but his eyes glinted like steel. The predator at his side growled low, as if sensing what was to come. The true test had only begun. The trial was announced at dawn. Word spread quickly through the city, and by sunrise thousands had gathered near the great arena. From the high steps of the council chamber to the crowded streets below, every voice whispered the same thing. The human and the predator would be tested. The alien girl stood close to the edge of the arena floor, her heart racing. She had begged the council not to make this a death sentence, but she knew the truth. Trials in her city were never fair. They were spectacles meant to prove strength or crush threats. And the human was not only an outsider, He was a human. The gates at the far end groaned open and he stepped inside. Calm, bare-chested, scars glinting in the morning light, his eyes steady and unshaken. At his side padded the predator, its glowing eyes scanning the crowd. Gasps and cries rippled through the spectators, some in awe, others in terror. From the council balcony, the eldest counselor's voice rang out. This human claims to bring strength, not ruin. He claims he is no threat. Today, he will face the trial of truth. Let the arena decide. The girl's tail curled tightly around her leg. She hated these words. The arena was no judge of truth, only of blood. Across from the human heavy gates opened again. From the shadows emerged 3 armored beasts bred by her people for war. Massive horned creatures armored with plates of bone, their roars shaking the very air. The crowd erupted in shouts, excitement, and fear. The commander stood at the balcony's edge, his lips twisted into a cruel smile. This was his plan. He had demanded the trial of truth, knowing it would mean throwing the human into certain death. Even if the predator fought by his side, the odds were impossible. The girl's stomach turned. She wanted to scream at the council, to tell them this was not a test but an execution. But the human did not look afraid. His hand brushed the predator's scales, and he whispered something too soft to hear. The beast growled low. Ready. The horn sounded. The trial began. The war beasts charged, their claws digging into the ground, horns lowered like spears. Dust flew as their massive bodies thundered forward. The predator met them first, leaping with terrifying speed. Its claws raked across one beast's armored hide, forcing it back with a roar. The crowd gasped. The human did not stand behind his ally. He moved forward himself. He caught a broken spear left from a past battle and braced as the second beast lunged. The impact shook the ground. The spear cracked, but he held his ground. Muscles straining, his feet dug into the dirt, and with a roar of his own, he shoved the beast aside. The crowd erupted, their cheers mixing with cries of fear. The girl's eyes widened. He was not fighting like her people, relying on armor or weapons. He fought with raw strength and unbreakable will. Every movement was sharp, precise, born from survival rather than training. The commander's smile faltered. He leaned toward the soldiers beside him, whispering urgently. She saw it. He was not willing to risk the human winning. He would not let the trial prove anything but failure. Back in the arena, the predator sank its fangs into the neck of the first war beast, dragging it down in a shower of dust. The second stumbled from the human's push, and before it could recover, he struck its face with the broken spear, shattering one of its horns. The third beast roared and lunged at the human from behind. The girl cried out, but the predator leapt again, slamming its massive body into the attacker. Together, human and beast fought side by side, moving as if they had battled together for years. Blood sprayed, dust rose, and the arena shook with the fury of battle. When it cleared, 2 of the war beasts lay defeated, the third limping back with snarls before collapsing. The human stood in the center, chest heaving, blood streaking his arms, but his grip on the broken spear was strong. The predator crouched beside him, growling at the crowd as if daring anyone else to enter. The arena fell silent. Then the cheers came, louder than the roars of beasts, echoing across the city. But above the noise, the girl's sharp eyes caught something, the commander's hand signaling to hidden soldiers. He was not finished. The trial had not broken the human, so he would break the rules. Her heart stopped. The real danger was only beginning. The cheers of the crowd thundered in, the arena echoing off the stone walls. The human stood in the center, bloodied but unbroken, the predator at his side like a living shadow. For the first time in memory, the trial of truth had not crushed a challenger. It had revealed something greater. But above the celebration, the alien girl's eyes caught the commander's movement. His hand flicked sharply, signaling soldiers, hidden in the archways. She saw the glint of drawn blades, the shimmer of charged spears. Her heart lurched. This was no trial. The commander was going to end it by force. No, she whispered, her voice trembling. The eldest counselor rose from his throne, his voice carrying across the arena. The trial is finished. The human has proven his strength. The commander snarled, ignoring the elder. He shouted to his soldiers, "Now! Kill him before he poisons our world further." From the shadows, soldiers rushed into the arena. Their weapons glowed with lethal energy, aimed at both the human and the predator. The crowd gasped in shock, some screaming, others trying to flee. Tucker, girl leapt to her feet. "Stop! This is treachery!" she cried, her voice breaking. But the commander's hatred drowned her out. The predator roared, leaping between the human and the soldiers. Energy spears clashed against its scales, sparks flashing as it fought to shield its master. The human, bloodied but unshaken, ripped a fallen soldier's spear from the ground and moved like a storm. His strikes were precise, brutal, and unrelenting. Ming. Arena floor turned into chaos, dust, shouts, and the clash of steel. Yet through it all, the human never stepped back. His body was battered, but his will was unbreakable. Each time a soldier lunged, he countered. Each time the predator was struck, his hand steadied it. They fought not as man and beast, but as one. The girl's chest ached as she watched. He could have abandoned the predator, let it take the blows, but he didn't. He fought for it as fiercely as it fought for him. The commander himself jumped into the arena, his blade glowing with deadly energy. He pointed it at the human, his eyes burning with rage. "This ends now. No human will walk away from here alive." The human's voice carried clear and steady. "I didn't come here to fight your people. But if you force me, I will not bow." "Theo," commander charged, his blade swinging down with killing force. The predator lunged, but the human held it back with a single command. He stepped forward, catching the commander's strike on the broken spear. The weapon shattered, but in the same breath the human twisted, grabbed the commander's wrist, and hurled him across the arena floor. The commander crashed against the stone wall, his blade skidding away. Silence fell. The soldiers who remained standing froze, staring at the human who had done what none of them could. The predator lowered its head beside him, growling low but steady. The girl stepped into the arena, her heart racing, her voice ringing loud enough for all to hear. "Enough! You all saw it. He faced the beasts, he faced betrayal, and still, he stands. Not as our enemy, but as proof of what we could be if we have the courage to see it." The council elders rose to their feet. The eldest spoke, his voice carrying across the stunned arena. "The human has passed the trial. He has faced not only our beasts but our own corruption. To deny this would be to deny the truth with our own eyes." The crowd erupted in cheers louder than before, shaking the city walls. Soldiers lowered their weapons. Even those who feared him could not deny what they had seen. The commander lay broken, his power shattered. The human stood tall, his eyes steady on the council. The girl turned to him, her voice softer now, filled with awe. "You came here to warn us of war. And now I believe you." The human looked at her, calm as ever. His voice was quiet, but it carried the weight of iron. "Then be ready, because what's coming will make even this day seem small." The predator growled in agreement, pressing its massive head against his hand. The girl knew then that history had changed before her eyes. Her people had always believed no one could tame the untamable. But the truth was clear now, a human could. And that truth would echo across the galaxy.